Time now for a check of the top business news stories. Delano D'Souza is here. And Delano, yesterday we spoke about UK and US pressure on Russia in the form of sanctions. Bring us up to speed on the latest.
That's right, Tom. Yesterday, the UK pressed EU foreign ministers who were meeting in Brussels today to discuss the situation in Ukraine. Now, the foreign ministers said that new possible sanctions could be imposed on Russia's defense sector, as well as on dual-use goods and energy technology. And while sanctions from Europe have not been upped, France finds itself in a difficult position. On Monday, French President François Hollande said the delivery of the Mistral warship to Russia would go ahead as planned, even though the US State Department has come out and called it inappropriate. Julia Seeger has more.
EU foreign ministers attempted to show a united front on Tuesday. More sanctions could be imposed on Moscow.
We have asked the Commission and External Action Service to prevent proposals for action, including on access to capital markets, defence, dual-use goods and sensitive technologies, including in the energy sector.
But behind closed doors, European countries are divided. Britain and Baltic countries are leading the way for tougher sanctions, including an arms embargo on Russia. Others, like Germany and France, however, are more reluctant to do so. On Monday, François Hollande said Paris would push ahead with the delivery of at least one helicopter carrier to Russia, despite pressure from the US and the UK to cancel the deal.
Will the second vessel be delivered? I'm going to be honest, it depends on Russia's attitude, but at this point there hasn't been any sanctions imposed yet, and nothing is forcing us to stop this deal. Regarding the first vessel, the delivery will happen. The Russians have paid. If not, we have to pay them back 1.1 billion euros.
The contract for the two warships signed by ex-President Nicolas Sarkozy in 2011 created more than 1,000 jobs in France. In the wake of Russia's military support to Ukrainian separatists, however, many EU countries are now opposing these types of deals.
It's a weak logic. We all agree that this is an aggression. If this is an aggression, it is then illogical to trade weapons with the aggressors.
The Mistral is a potent weapon. The length of more than 2 football fields, the ship is designed to deploy more than a dozen tanks and attack helicopters.
Let's take a look at how markets have fared today. Stocks in Europe bounced back from yesterday's losses. The FTSE and CAC 40 both ended the day in the green. A breakthrough in developments at the MH17 crash site helped lift sentiment here. Germany's DAX closed the day up over 1%. Analysts say the effects of further sanctions on Russia is unlikely to have any short-term impact.
Sanctions would have a negative impact, but only in the medium and long term, as Germany does a lot of trade with Russia. I don't expect the DAX to react immediately. Still, sanctions are definitely a strain on the economy, but on those hit by the sanctions as well as on those imposing them.
Let's take a look at trading in the US now. Stocks this Tuesday, all in the green. Markets were boosted by better than expected second quarter results from Comcast, Verizon and DuPont. Let's take a look at the other business news we're tracking for you now. The latest food scandal to hit China is spreading fast. Husi Food, which was supplying expired chicken and beef to McDonald's and KFC, was also supplied to US coffee chains Starbucks and fast food giant Burger King. It appears Husi Food's reach was not limited to China. About 1/5 of all McNuggets sold in Japan were sourced from the company. Swedish furniture giant IKEA was also among the international companies that were serving tainted meat. Switzerland's second largest bank posted a net loss of 700 million francs. Poor results from Credit Suisse came following its $2.6 billion settlement reached in May with US authorities. The bank was accused of helping wealthy Americans evade US taxes. The group has also announced it would quit its loss-making commodities trading business to trim costs. And finally, French advertising giant Publicis has reported a 17% drop in net profit for the first half of this year. In May, the company called off its planned merger with its US rival Omnicom. Publicis blamed its poor performance on advertising campaign cancellations and a weakness in Europe and emerging markets. The company's stock dropped over 5% in trading in Paris. And with that, it's a wrap on this business bulletin. Tom, it's back to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Delano D'Souza, for that update on all the goings on in the world of business. That's it from me. I'll be back in 2.5 minutes for the top stories.